Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my most anticipated games of 2024 video. I almost said a gaming news video then. In this video, I'll be going over my most anticipated upcoming games for 2024. So I'll be detailing games that I'm looking forward to that are confirmed, or in some cases not necessarily, to be releasing in 2024. There are two games from my main list that don't have confirmed dates, but I sort of speculate we could see early access releases for those specific games in 2024. This list isn't ranked most to like least anticipated or anything like that. Just a random list of games I'm looking forward to the most, and I will be including some footage throughout, mostly just trailer footage. Along with full releases, there will be, I think, a few early access / beta releases covered as well. I'll also be doing an honourable mentions section after I've covered my most anticipated games for 2024. And those will be honourable mentions of games that are coming out in 2024, and an additional releases bit on my sort of overall sort of top upcoming games, which will be, I think most of them are like at least years out, but I thought I'd just add that as sort of an overall list of things that I'm sort of most interested in. But yeah, so we'll start off with the main list. So yeah, let's get into that main list. These are my most anticipated games of 2024. First up, we have a game that came out of nowhere for me actually. That game is Under a Rock. I had not heard of this game before watching the trailer, but after watching that announcement trailer, Under a Rock is easily one of my most anticipated games. And no, I guess not just of 2024, but I just really like the look of it. The game is a procedural open world survival crafting game. You can play solo or up to 10-player co-op. You play as an early 19th century explorer type character who has been stranded in a strange new world, one that is hidden and apparently has a different evolutionary path. You explore the island, hoping to unveil its secrets, and you can build a base, survive like the hostile environments and apparently dangerous nights. I don't know if they'll be more dangerous than the daytime, maybe. The environments, the biomes, and the map in general looks very nice. It's very colourful and vibrant, and what the developers have shown of the underwater environments also look really nice. I'm very impressed by the game's art design and aesthetic so far. As it's a survival crafting game, base building and obviously resource harvesting are going to be the main components of the game. But along with the exploring and things, there's also farming, fishing, hunting, exploring, and other survival gameplay elements. The exploring the temples and caves also gives me some like Tomb Raider vibes, which has me intrigued. Though they didn't really show a lot of that off yet in the trailer, anyway. And from what I've seen so far, the game has some like Conan Exiles and maybe even Ark sort of feels to it, which to me is a good thing, especially Conan. I love Conan Exiles, great game, great survival sort of crafting game. And like those two aforementioned games, there is animal taming and breeding, so that's cool. And like Conan Exiles, they mentioned climbing would be a thing, which is nice. I always liked that was a sort of a minor addition to Conan, but it was something I really enjoyed, just climbing around the map and things. So it's interesting that it'll be in this game. Whether it will take the same form as in Conan Exiles, I don't know. And also, just to add, in the Discord, the Under a Rock Discord, it was mentioned in the FAQ that there will be a detailed character customization, so that's good to hear. And I thought Conan Exiles had a pretty good character customization, so if it can be at least as good as that, I'll be happy. Anyway, the game, back to the looks, the game looks very unique and interesting. It's not just sort of copying other survival games. It does seem to have a lot of its own sort of unique things going for it. Graphics wise, it's got a sort of cartoon sort of / like Pixar animation thing going on, but with like a realistic look. And as mentioned earlier, it's very vibrant, colourful game. I really love the art design and aesthetic of Under a Rock. It does look great. And as a survival game, there'll be a lot of base building, which is something I like in games. But they also mentioned there'll be ghost building so that you can plan out a base before sort of committing to it. They also said in the Discord that, quote, ghost building is also automatically activated if your base is destroyed, meaning all you have to do is recollect the resources. So I guess there'll be like a ghost frame of what you built when it's destroyed, if it is, and then you can just rebuild off that if you want, or I guess scrap it if you want and sort of start over. But that's a really cool mechanic though, I think. And everything I've seen about this game looks great, and the things I've read up on its Discord and bits of sort of research on it, the game, yeah, it does look really good. But yeah, not a huge amount has been shown off, but yeah, enough to get me really excited for the game. The game is being developed by 5 indie developers, their studio being Nordic Trolls, and the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5. I checked the FAQ, and yeah, there's no on their Discord and sort of research online, and there's no release date set, but it looks like it. I mean, it could potentially release into early access to start with. I think yeah, maybe an early access release is likely. It probably won't be a full release, which yeah, I'm fine with as long as it's yeah good and it does look good. And as for actual release, this is some speculation on my part, a bit of wishful thinking, you could say. But yeah, I'm hoping Under a Rock releases into early access in 2024. But obviously, if they need more time, I'm happy for them to take as much time as they need. Yeah, Under a Rock is a game I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. I am really liking the look of the game and what I've seen of it so far. Now, next up, we have Ark 2. This is obviously the sequel to Ark Survival Evolved, the open world survival crafting game. Ark 2 was revealed a while ago, I think it was a few years back, and yeah, the game was originally actually planned to release in 2023, but this has since been pushed back to sometime in late 2024 from what I can tell, but I'll cover that a bit later. As with the first Ark, Ark 2 is going to be an open world survival crafting game set in a world full of like dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures. They haven't really shown much off yet, but the gameplay elements from Survival Evolved, or just Ark 1 I'll call it, will likely be expanded on. Things like the base building, taming, and combat and the likes are hopefully going to be improved on. I've not played Ark 1 in quite a while actually, but I did enjoy it. I wasn't a fan of the sort of later game stuff like the sci-fi and futuristic stuff. I only really played to like explore the island and the environments and base build and see the dinosaurs and other animals. I thought that was the main draw of it for me. But yeah, no, Ark 2 will likely have the same sort of sci-fi stuff as the first game, but I'm still interested in exploring the sort of the primal world and the base, and yeah, getting involved in the base building and things like that, etc. Given the game is going to be based in Unreal Engine 5, the world and biomes, yeah, should be very enjoyable to explore. It's going to be a great looking world. Most of the stuff shown off for the game is pre-recorded teaser, trailer footage and things, but I believe it is done in Unreal Engine 5. The footage is done in it. So there's a good chance the unscripted stuff, yeah, will look probably less impressive when the game comes out, I would imagine. But yeah, I still think if the final game looks even close to the trailer and teaser footage, it's going to be an incredible looking game. I'm hoping that Studio Wildcard and Grove Street Games, the developers, can release Ark 2 without too many issues. However, given how good the game is likely going to look, I'm expecting performance issues to be a thing when the game releases, which seems to be a issue at the moment with the Ark 1 remaster, which I'll briefly touch on in a little bit. But as I mentioned at the beginning of this piece on Ark 2, it looks like the game will be releasing in late 2024, so sometime in Q4 2024, which late 2024 is, I think, the sort of confirmation I researched and saw online. Yeah, it was confirmed actually by Studio Wildcard themselves, I believe, according to PC Games N. But yeah, even though the developers have said late 2024, like to Q4 2024, it wouldn't surprise me if it was delayed again. And that Q4 2024 release, I believe, is the early access release according to the game's Steam page. Just note as well, as I mentioned, a remaster of Ark 1 in Unreal Engine 5 called Ark Survival Ascended was released into early access back at the end of October this year. So it looks like if you played that, it might get some of the feelings of how Ark 2 might perform, although I think Ark 2 is going to be a fair bit more demanding. And also, I'm hoping this isn't the case, but if development slows on that remaster, I could see Ark 2 getting pushed back also. Or they could just end up abandoning Survival Ascended, solely focus on Ark 2. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it does seem like a lot of work to be working on sort of 2 large-scale Unreal 5 games simultaneously. I suppose the other one is the Ark 1 remaster is a remaster, so maybe it won't take so much effort. But yeah, still quite a lot of work to take on, I believe. But yeah, hopefully the devs can pull it off. Best of luck to them, and we'll hopefully see Ark 2 at the end of 2024. And moving on, we have the next mainline AC Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Codename Red. What it will finally be called is unknown. Maybe it will be Codename Red. But anyway, the game is going to be to finally be an AC game set in medieval or feudal Japan, likely during the Sengoku period. Myself, along with I think a lot of others, have wanted this for a long time. An AC game set in Japan, set in the Sengoku period with samurai and ninja or shinobi and all that entails is, yeah, something long awaited, I feel. Going by the information we have, which is still very sparse, it's looking like we will be playing as a female ninja slash assassin in the aforementioned period, taking place sometime in the 15th to 16th century Japan, though it could be a little later or earlier too, I guess. And yeah, there may also be some rumours of a samurai protagonist as well, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. One developer said the game will, quote, let players explore one of their most awaited settings ever and, quote, live a very powerful shinobi fantasy. AC Red is being developed by Ubisoft Quebec, who were the developers of AC Odyssey, and they have said that Red will be, quote, the future of our open world RPG games on Assassin's Creed. So I guess maybe like how Origins sort of set like the template, I guess, a bit for the next few Assassin's Creed games. Maybe this will be the same for the mainline ones. Well, codename Red anyway. And yeah, as I touched on very briefly, leaks and rumours so far point to the possibility of players being given the choice to either choose a samurai or ninja playable character. This could be locked in from the get-go, or maybe like GTA 5, we will be able to swap sort of characters on the fly. Neither have been confirmed, so yeah, this is just speculation. And yeah, I am definitely looking forward to this, especially because of the setting, and I do hope the devs can pull this off flawlessly. And yeah, I'm happy that the devs behind Odyssey will be making this one, as I feel that game was, yeah, quite well received, Odyssey. Setting and world for the game are going to be its main draws for me. I'm looking forward to exploring an open world feudal Japan. Hope they get the look and feel of it locked down. It'd be really cool to explore the cities, towns, and castles, as well as sort of the forest and mountain regions of medieval Japan. Like I imagine castles in the mountains. That would be really interesting. And yeah, let's hope the assassin and stealth side of things is more developed and focused on. I think some people may not feel this way, but I feel the last few AC games are focusing less on the stealth aspects, which I didn't mind in Origins, to be honest. Although I feel if they're going to have a ninja protagonist, or one of two maybe, they need to go hard into the stealth gameplay. And yeah, maybe depending on the character you pick, if rumours are true regarding that, this will change gameplay a fair bit. So yeah, ninja character obviously more focus on in-depth stealth, and samurai character more focus on combat, but still have stealth elements, I would imagine. I did want to say I sort of dip in and out with the AC games. I've not played like that many of them. The last AC game I played was Origins, and yeah, really enjoyed that. I do plan on playing Odyssey next, but I've heard it's very long, so I'm sort of putting it off at the moment. May try and give it a playthrough sometime next year. So yeah, not too much else to say in regard to AC Red. Definitely one of my most anticipated games. Release-wise, I believe Ubisoft have confirmed that the game will be releasing towards the end of 2024, so likely in Q4 of 2024. Now moving on to a remake. This is the Gothic 1 remake. Just a little background on Gothic. The first game, Gothic, simply titled Gothic, is a fantasy RPG. It was released back in 2001 for PC, and is, yeah, considered a classic title. Seems like it was well received at the time and still has a sizable fan base. The original game is still available to this day on GOG or GOG and Steam, and still has an active community. I do have the game on GOG, but I haven't played it yet. I've watched reviews for it, however, and yeah, it does look pretty cool. Mantle Gaming has a good review of Gothic. He goes over the game in great detail. I'd check his video out if you're interested in the game in more detail. There are a couple other mainline and spin-off Gothic games like Gothic 2 and 3, and from what I could tell, they were fairly well received, but I don't hear as much about them as I do the original game. So now onto the remake. This is going to be a full remake of the original game in Unreal Engine 5, and from what has been shown, it does look pretty good. I know it was only a sort of cinematic showcase exploring the sort of starting, I guess, area, but the atmosphere it presents feels great. From the views of watching Gothic, I really like the atmosphere, the world, and the general feel of the game. So if they can keep that feel true to the original in the remake and update the visuals and some gameplay elements, and I think the remake will do very well. As covered by Mandalore Gaming in his review of the original game, the controls are pretty rough, so I'd hope the developers would bring those up to modern standards, maybe offer a choice between classic and modern control schemes. I think that could work. Obviously, it would likely have remappable controls and things, so maybe it won't be that much of an issue. It also seems that the game is pretty hard and can be quite punishing. I think keeping the original difficulty is a must with this sort of game, though I'd be happy to see reduced difficulty options to make the game less punishing for those who would prefer that. And to be honest, that's probably how I'd play, at least at first, with the game. But yeah, probably keep its original difficulty, but maybe have some different difficulty options and things. Because yeah, the original was released back in a time where certain games were pretty hardcore difficulty-wise. From reviews as well, I watched the game also seems to have a lot of gameplay variety, with players given the option to go with melee magic or like range combat, and also players can do all sorts of quests and tasks for NPCs and that sort of thing. There's a lot you can do, and this is all aided by the living world of the game. NPCs are always sort of moving about, doing things, and have life cycles, etc. They also interact with the player depending on what they have or haven't done, and based on their allegiances. This may not be that big these days, but for the time, it sounded like it was. Yeah, it sounds like it was pretty huge. So hopefully, the remake will bring those gameplay elements into the current era games and expand on them. Like the original, hopefully, this game is heavily moddable too. Although this hasn't been confirmed last time I checked, but yeah, hopefully it will be the case. Closer to release, they'll confirm more modding stuff. And yeah, in some ways I get sort of fantasy Kingdom Come Deliverance vibes when I think of the original game and this upcoming remake. And yeah, KCD, Kingdom Come Deliverance being one of my sort of favorite, one of my favorite games ever. So that's some, yeah, good feels I'm getting. But yeah, just feels like the kind of game where you can do the main and side quests, or you can go off on your own adventure and role play the game in sort of any way you please and explore the world and everything it has to offer. So very interested in seeing if that is the case, because something I'm very interested in and something I feel Kingdom Come Deliverance does quite well. So yeah, really looking forward to how this Gothic 1 remake ends up. Really hope that the developers, I believe they're Alchemia Interactive, pull this one off well, and yeah, I have no reason to think otherwise so far. Release-wise, the devs have said the release is targeted for the second half of 2024, so Q3 or Q4 next year, 2024. Next up, we have another remake, or I believe it's considered a reimagining, Alone in the Dark 2024. This is described as a reimagining of the original 1992 game of the same name, which was one of the first 3D survival horror games. And to be honest, I think it's probably one of the first 3D games in general to believe, going that far back. I have watched videos on that original game, and it does look very dated by today's standards, but it has an interesting story setting and sort of horror atmosphere. I really feel this game deserves the remake treatment, or in this case, the reimagining treatment. Not usually as interested in supernatural / sort of paranormal and psychological horror when it comes to games, but Alone in the Dark has me very intrigued. From what's been shown off of the game so far, it does look quite good. I really like the Lovecraftian inspirations and the dark atmosphere of the game. The developers have done really well to make the game look very foreboding. And recently we have been getting more gameplay previews of Alone in the Dark 2024 over at IGN and the likes. And yeah, it's shaping up well from what I've seen. It really has some RE remake feels too, which is good. And actually the developers of the game, Pieces Interactive, I believe they're called, even said that they were inspired to make this game due to the success of the RE2 and 3 remakes. And yeah, the third person over the shoulder perspective is very similar actually. Even the gunplay and combat looks quite similar, which yeah, to me isn't a bad thing. Quite the contrary. Yeah, it looks great. Actually, talking about the original game, 1992 game, it actually had a similar fixed camera angle view as the older Resident Evil games. But obviously this was a few years before, I think 4 years before the first Resident Evil. Anyway, like the original game, the player takes control of either Edward Carnby or Emily Hartwood, and it is set in the southern United States in the 1920s. While I believe that the 1992 game is mostly set in a manor, this remake also features other locales by the looks, although the manor is still the focal point of the game. If you're into survival horror games, especially the Resident Evil remakes, I'd highly recommend you take a look at Alone in the Dark 2024. If it's anywhere near as good as those remakes, I'm sure it'd be a great game. I'm looking forward to exploring the manor and sort of investigating its grim goings on when the game releases. This is Yeah, been one of my most anticipated games ever since it was revealed a while ago. I think I covered its reveal a number of months ago. I don't usually pre-order games anymore, so I will be tentatively waiting on reviews for the game. Hopefully it ends up being a good game. Release-wise, the game does have a confirmed release date. Just to note, it has been delayed a couple times. Hope it isn't delayed any further, unless they need to do so, of course. Anyway, Alone in the Dark 2024 is set to release on the 20th of March 2024. Now, moving on to an upcoming social sandbox MMO, that being Pax Dei. I noticed this game a few months back when it was shown at one of the game events, and since then I've been very interested in the game. As mentioned, it's going to be a sandbox MMO, so the world is going to be vast, open, and will give players the ability to interact with the world. This will include exploring, resource gathering, hunting, crafting, building survival elements, maybe terraforming, as well as the usual sort of PvE combat and PvE activities, among other things. Sounds like PvP will be added into the game, but won't be the focus of Pax Day. It will be added for people who enjoy PvP, which is fine by me, but I don't expect it to be sort of PvP everywhere. Nothing is confirmed, though maybe like old school RuneScape, there will be a cordoned off area or areas which when you enter you agree to PvP interactions or something like that maybe. Any of this could change. But from what I've seen and heard so far, the world interaction and the sandbox nature of the game will take precedent, so it's probably going to be more sort of heavily PvE focused, which, yeah, I'm more interested in PvE content for the game, but I'm absolutely fine with PvP stuff as long as it isn't sort of forced, or it's like maybe server specific even. The game recently finished its first invite alpha phase, and I watched a fair bit of gameplay from it actually. It looks really good so far. It's still fairly early, but looks good. I really like the look of the building mechanics. They seem to have implemented it well thus far. Hopefully they continue to add more variety and elements to it. So far I'm pleased with what I'm seeing from that side of the game. I know this is still an alpha game. The map is looking pretty fleshed out. It seems nicely detailed already and quite vast, with mountains and all sorts of things. I guess it is still subject to change, though. From what I've seen so far, yeah, looks good. Exploration-wise, it does seem like traversing the map and exploring will be quite fun. I feel this is going to be aided by the lush world. There are mountains, forests, plains, caves, and dungeons, as well as other locales that have been shown off so far. Yeah, from what I've seen, the map is full of variety. Graphically, it's a very nice looking game, especially for an MMO. The game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, so this high fidelity is expected. I think there are other MMOs using Unreal 5 too, but Pax Day is one that stands out for me at the moment. I believe Ashes of Creation, I think it's called, is another MMO that uses Unreal 5 that's been developed. But anyway, the game Pax Day is going for I believe, like a low fantasy or medieval fantasy approach. So there will be like magic and monsters and the likes, but it'll be less fantastical than high fantasy worlds, like the Lord of the Rings or World of Warcraft, just to name a couple. I could be wrong about this. I'm no sort of lore master when it comes to these definitions, but the developers themselves have referred to the game setting as low fantasy. In conclusion then, I am rather impressed by what the developers have put together so far. Pax Day is looking good, at least to me. I may have jumped the gun a bit with Pax Day, as there is no confirmed release date for the game. But given they are seemingly going to be doing more invitational alphas going forward, I'm hopeful we'll see a beta or early access phase at some point in 2024 on Steam. Just to add, you can take part in the alpha sign-up via the Play Pax Day website, which I have done. Whether I get an invite in the future is unknown, but I'm hopeful, as I would like to give the game a go. I'm not usually into alpha or early access like I used to be anyway, although I wouldn't mind giving Pax Day a go early, as I'm really liking the look of it. Also link a video in the description to a video by YouTuber Narc. The video is of his impressions of the alpha. Give it a watch if you're interested in the game. Next up, we have a game with a confirmed release date, that game being a sequel to a game I think a lot of people thought we would never get, Warhammer 40,000 or 40k Space Marine 2. This game and the next three are all from franchises we haven't seen games released in for a number of years. I'm certainly glad that we are getting new games in these franchises, it's great to see. But yeah, first up, similar to the first Space Marine game, this game puts you in control of a Space Marine commander as you're taking on hordes of enemies. In the first game, we faced off against mostly orcs, but also the forces of chaos. But in this one, it seems the main focus is the Tyranids, or Tyranids, however you want to pronounce them. though Chaos is also going to be returning in some form or another. Also, like the first game, Space Marine 2 will be a third-person shooter slash hack and slash action game, with an emphasis on the action, like the first game. The combat is going to be action-packed, chaotic, gory, and likely overwhelming at times. And yeah, a fair bit of gameplay has been shown off of the game so far, and it's looking great. All they really need to do is do what they did with the first game, but expand on that, make it bigger and more action-packed, which they seem to have done. The characters, enemies, battles, weapons, combat animations and environments all look significantly improved on. Overall, from the gameplay footage shown that I've watched and stuff, the developers really turned it up a notch. Though obviously this is expected, given the original game came out in 2011, I believe. So yeah, it has been a little while. I'm glad we'll be playing as Captain Titus again as well, though he has been recast. Apparently his voice actor's different. Thought he was a cool protagonist, so yeah, wanted to see what was next for him. Apparently I'll try not to spoil anything. Following the events of the first game, Titus has undergone a process to transform him into a Primaris Space Marine, essentially a more advanced Space Marine, I believe. As a fan of the Warhammer 40k universe, this is definitely a game I'm looking forward to in 2024. I did play the first game through and really enjoyed it. I feel it still holds up well today, in fact. There's also a fairly fun multiplayer horde and PvP mode in that first game, and hopefully a similar multiplayer setup will be featured in Space Marine 2, though like the first game, I suspect the main campaign played in either single player or I think in co-op you can play it in will be the main experience. Onto release details. As mentioned, this game does have a release date, that being the 9th of September 2024, so a bit later into 2024. But yeah, we look forward to Space Marine 2's release. It's been a while. Now we move onto a game that has had many delays and changes during its development. That game is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This is obviously the sequel to the classic original Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines game, which released back in November 2004. This is another long-awaited sequel, and another thing a lot of people thought we'd never get, especially as it will be around 20 years since the release of the first game by the time Bloodlines 2 comes out. And to be honest, this game has had such a rocky development cycle, it wouldn't surprise me if it was delayed again. I'm hoping it doesn't just get canned. If the developers need more time, just delay it, please. Please don't cancel it. The original Bloodlines is a first/third-person single-player vampire RPG with a lot of in-depth gameplay mechanics, a great world and great atmosphere. This is another game I haven't played myself, but I have watched reviews and videos on the game, and yeah, it does look really good. I like the underworld vampire vibes of the game. It has really impressive dark vampire world and atmosphere. And yeah, that first game, is a true cult sort of classic PC game and is held in very high regard. The devs for the new Bloodlines 2 have a lot to live up to, with Bloodlines 2, and I hope they can deliver a great sequel. Talking about Bloodlines 2 specifically, not much has been shown of the game. The most recent announcement trailer shows some combat and a bit of the world, but not a lot, to be honest. I'm looking forward to a proper gameplay preview. That would be nice. I'm hoping they can keep the gameplay quite similar to the first game, but obviously expand and improve on it with modern sort of gaming tech. And I really hope that the game's developers keep the dark vampire atmosphere and world intact. And it does look, from what they've shown, they are going down that route, so that's good. I believe the first game is considered to have a pretty good story as well, where you choose your choices via dialogue and your actions sort of matter. And yeah, that's another thing I'm hoping will be a big focus of the game, and that's well done. But yeah, as I mentioned, I haven't played the original, but I am still really interested in Bloodlines 2, as I really like the look and style of the game. I'm very much into that sort of underworld, sort of dark vampire aesthetic in games. But yeah, it does. This Bloodlines 2 does have some big boots to fulfill, and I wish the developers all the best. I feel it's going to be hard to live up to a cult classic like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. On to release, Bloodlines 2 has been confirmed by Paradox, who are publishing the game, that the game will release in the fall of 2024, so autumn in the northern hemisphere, so late Q3 or Q4 of 2024. Although, as I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if it is delayed again, but I hope given they've got around another year roughly to develop the game, that no more delays will be needed. And the penultimate game is yet another, as I mentioned, another one I suspect a lot of people thought we would never see, Dragon's Dogma 2. It is a single-player open-world action RPG set in its own fantasy universe, so genre-wise it's similar to the first game. And this is yet another really long-awaited sequel. I'm not surprised at the hype surrounding this game. I played through Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen for the first time this year, actually, in 2023, and really enjoyed it. And it was around the time I was playing it that number 2 was announced, so that was a nice coincidence at the time. The original Dragon's Dogma released in 2012, I believe. This was followed by the enhanced version in 2013, Dark Arisen. So yeah, as with some other games I'm covering today, it has been a little while since the first game. I think the main draw of the first game was its fantasy open world, in-depth RPG elements, the party system, the pawn system, and the combat, including the battles with like giant monsters and the ability to scale them, Shadow of the Colossus-esque. It looks like this game will mostly follow the same enjoyable formula, but improve upon the original with higher fidelity visuals and a larger world. So I expect similar gameplay as the first game, although set in a scaled up world among other things and improvements, I guess you could say. Seems like the story in Dragon's Dogma 2 will have more meat to it than the first game. The story in Dark Arisen was fine. Didn't really play it for the story, I guess, but it would be nice if they focused more on it in its sequel. Graphically, Dragon's Dogma 2 is looking very nice, and that is in part due to it using Capcom's RE engine. This is the same engine used in the latest Resident Evil games, including the RE remake games. And yeah, I believe Resident Evil 7 was the first game to use that engine, and it was also used in Resident Evil Village. It's it's an engine that allows for some very impressive visuals. All the RE remake games look incredible and aren't too performance heavy, given how good it looks. The engineers have really done well developing the RE engine. And as for some of the games on my list, Dragon's Dogma 2 has some pretty big boots to fill. So far, what's been shown looks great, and I'm looking forward to getting into it and experiencing this fantasy world. The game does have a definite release date. It is releasing on, well, I say definite, it could be delayed, but hopefully not. It's releasing on March 22nd, 2024. So a few months to wait. I'm sure it will be worth it. And the final game is actually a racing game, one in a franchise we haven't seen in a while, that being the Test Drive franchise, and this newest entry is going to be Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Last Test Drive was Unlimited 2, and that released back in February of 2011, so yeah, another long-awaited game, which should hopefully be releasing fairly soon, though I'm not sure I will cover that obviously in a bit. I used to play a lot more racing games. I've brought this up in a number of videos when I was younger, and I really enjoyed both of the Test Drive Unlimited games. I played the first Test Drive Unlimited earlier this year. In fact, on my 360, it still holds up pretty well. I think Unlimited 2 was the last car racing game that I really got into and enjoyed playing. So it's been a while. I sort of fell out of love with Forza after Motorsport 4, and I haven't played any Gran Turismo games since number 4. I feel the racing franchises I used to like are really lacking these days, at least for me. I didn't enjoy the latest Forza Motorsport. It's good for background footage. You may have noticed I've used it quite a lot for that. But that's about it for me. I just don't like its progression. Maybe in the future they can improve on it, but I don't know. I may give Gran Turismo 7 a go that day. It looks a bit more, bit more down my, bit more for me anyway. But yeah, I don't know yet. It seems better than the latest Forza, but I've also not heard the best things about GT7. But anyway, I'm really hoping that Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown can actually be a racing game that I am a good racing game, great racing game, and want to enjoy for once. So I really enjoyed the last 2 games. As with those previous 2 Test Drive Unlimited games, Solar Crown is a 3-roam open world racing game, this time set on a 1-to-1 scale recreation of Hong Kong Island. The first game was set on Oahu, which is one of the islands in Hawaii, and the second one on Ibiza, which is a Spanish island, and there's also had the Oahu setting from the first game. But yeah, both those maps were really awesome and massive open maps. Hopefully I can say the same about Solar Crown's map. Along with the racing, players can customize their cars, and from what has been shown off, this game, Solar Crown, has more customization options than the previous 2 games. Unlimited 1 and 2 didn't have customization like Need for Speed or Midnight Club, but I felt it was good, so an expansion to the customization will be nice. Also, like the first 2 games, there will be more social aspects to the game in Solar Crown, including exploring the open world, visiting car dealerships, and maybe bikes too, free roaming online, purchasing property, though apparently this won't be a thing on launch, which is disappointing, and customizing your character with different clothing options and accessories, etc. I'm liking what has been shown of the game so far. Hope that when Solar Crown releases, I'm reporting on it being a good game. Also, that the only thing I'm not happy about is that lack of real estate or buyable property. It's apparently going to be added in later. And like myself, I think a lot of people enjoyed this aspect of the previous two games. I don't know why they don't just put it out alongside the release. I'd be happy if they delayed the game to implement it, to be honest. Hopefully the base game is good and they simply add it in soon after release. Release-wise, the game doesn't have a confirmed release date, but most information points to it releasing in early 2024, actually. So Q1, which is fast approaching, so I'd expect a confirmed release date soon. Or maybe they will push it back to work on things. I'm not really sure. And before I move on, I did want to say if anyone at Rockstar is listening, please make another Midnight Club game. We are so overdue. I doubt it's going to happen, but I do have hope. Anyway, so that was my list of my most anticipated games that are coming out in 2024. Sans any delays, anyway. I think my most anticipated game from this list is Under a Rock, the first game I covered. Sort of came out of nowhere for me, but I really like the look of it. I'm hoping it's good and becomes an indie survival hit like Valheim was. So yeah, come to the end of the main list. That was my most anticipated games 2024. I'm really looking forward to all of those games. I did want to cover some more games as well. First of those being some honourable mentions for 2024. These are games that have caught my attention, but they didn't make it into my top list for 2024. And as with the main list, bar any delays, most if not all of these games should all be released in 2024 from what I could tell. But obviously I could be wrong for some of them. So yeah, these are my honourable mentions for 2024. We've got Skull and Bones. That's coming out, actually has a confirmed release date now. Actually revealed at the Game Awards 2023, I believe, and that has a confirmed release date of the 13th of February 2024. I know this game has another game with a pretty rocky development, so whether it will be delayed again, I don't know. They've given a definite release date now that's less than 2 months away, so I would hope it's pretty locked in for that February the 13th date, but you never know with Ubisoft these days. They could end up just delaying it sort of last minute. That's another highly anticipated game, so I mean, hopefully they do well and the game releases and is well received and is a good game, but we'll just have to wait till February for that. Next one is Tomb Raider 1 to 3, so 1, 2 and 3 remastered. So you remaster those original classic games from the PS2 and early PC era. So remaster them, not total remakes, so they're just sort of remaking them high fidelity and things and getting them to run properly on modern systems. And they are set to release on the 14th of February, so a day after Skull and Bones. I might actually pick these up on release. I'll wait for reviews and just see, because you never know, they might be really bad remakes, or not remakes, remasters. But yeah, hopefully they are done well. As I'm a big fan of the Tomb Raider games, so it would be cool to play through those remastered on like a modern PC or system. And yeah, as I said, that was the 14th of February those are coming out. Then we have an interesting one actually, Life by You. This is going to release into early access on the 5th of March 2024. There's actually a life sim game similar to The Sims by the looks of things, which is interesting because I don't feel there are really many competitors to The Sims that at least don't do it very similar to The Sims. And it, interestingly, it's also been published by Paradox, which I didn't expect. But as a publisher I like, they've had some issues in the past, but I think generally they've been okay. I like a lot of their pretty much all of their grand strategy games. Big fan of their grand strategy games. But obviously they're not developing this, they're just publishing it. But yeah, it's just interesting to see. So it's called Life by You, and that's coming out on the 5th of March 2024 into early access, and is a sim-like game, or The Sims-like esque game. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking back in on that one. Next up is Rise of the Ronin. This is a sort of Ghost of Tsushima-esque looking game set in the medieval Japan. This is coming 22nd of March 2024, exclusive to the PS5, I believe, at this moment. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. Haven't seen too much on it, but what has been shown, it looks good. It does have Ghost of Tsushima vibes, but to me it seems maybe a bit more linear than Ghost of Tsushima. Well, that's like a big open world. This seems a bit less so, but I could be wrong. It does look pretty good, and yeah, that's coming out on the 22nd of March next year, 2024. Next up, we have Manor Lords. This is coming out on the 26th of April 2024, and it's a strategy colony sim tactical. I don't know. It's got a bunch of different genres, but like it's got RTS elements, and it looks quite interesting. And it's set in going by the name, it's like a medieval, like realistic medieval world, and you control your settlements and towns and things, and you have armies and stuff. And yeah, actually looks quite interesting. I've heard a number of YouTubers talk about this game actually, and yeah, I'm quite interested to see how that turns out. Yeah, it'd be cool to see a new RTS city builder type game coming out, and there is actually going to be a full release, not early access. Next, we have the next Stalker game, Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. This is apparently coming out in Q1 2024, so that's fast approaching, and we haven't got a confirmed release date as of when I have checked. It's obviously the sequel to Stalker 1 Shadow of Chernobyl, which was, it's a classic sort of PC game. And it's, Stalker 2 is a long-awaited sequel to that one. And yeah, they're like open world FPS, post-apocalyptic survival element games. Horror, they, use a lot of horror in the game. And yeah, I know this one has had a bit of a rocky development as well. But yeah, apparently Q1 2024. So some point in the next 3 months, I guess. Then we have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Bit of a surprise when they showed this earlier in 2023. I wasn't expecting to get one so soon, but I guess it's not too soon. It's been 4 years by the time this comes out, since Flight Simulator 2020. From stuff they've shown off, I think it's going to be improved a bit visually. At least it'll be noticeable, I believe. But the main big improvement seems to be to the gameplay. They're going to add actual, I don't know if it's like jobs and things, but more sort of realistic, like gameplay, real life sort of stuff you can do into the game. Sounds kind of interesting. I mean, I just generally just enjoy doing like flights and things in the game. I guess I'm not too bothered about that job sort of side and gameplay side of things, but it sounds cool, and I'll probably give it a go when it comes out. It should be coming out in Q3 or Q4 2024. At least that's the most updated details I got on it, and yes, so that'll be an interesting one to take a look at. And yeah, it should be on Game Pass as well, so you won't have to like buy it for proper full price. You can just get it through Game Pass and give it a go if you're interested in Flight Simulator. Next few games are less known about their release dates, but I'll cover them anyway because they are suspected to release in 2024. First one is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So this is the remake of Snake Eater, the classic and very, very well reviewed third mainline Metal Gear game, I believe. Metal Gear Solid game anyway. Played a bit of the original years ago, but never picked it up again. I would like to someday. It does look good, or maybe I'll just wait for this remake. From what's been shown so far, it's not too much, I don't believe, but it does look quite good. I'm sure, a lot of people are looking forward to this, and this is another remake that may have been inspired by the Resident Evil remakes. But yeah, release-wise, I think most people are pointing to it being sort of towards the end of this year. Might coincide with the 20th anniversary of the original Snake Eater, so that would be, I believe, in like Q4 2024, sometime around then. So that could release towards the end of the 2024. And next we have Titan Quest 2. So Titan Quest is the original. It's still it's like a classic PC game, very, very held in quite high regard, I'd say. I played a bit of it. I think it was a year or two ago I played it. Didn't complete it, but I did like what I played of it. But yeah, it's like a sort of isometric action RPG. Titan Quest games, and Titan Quest 2 is similar, and with the Greek mythological setting and fantasy world. So Titan Quest 2, be the sequel to the first Titan Quest games, the Titan Quest and the expansion. And from what has been shown, it's not too much again, but it does look pretty good. Certainly graphically. I mean, the original Titan Quests, I think, come out in like 2005 or 6, something like that. So Titan Quest 2 is, going to be massively improved graphically and things if you're interested in that side of it. Game is, it's not got a confirmed release date, but I think most people are pointing to sometime in 2024. I suspect we'll get a confirmed release date as in like maybe in the summertime, maybe to say it's going to release it towards the end of the year. That's what I'd sort of speculate on, but not sure. Maybe at some point in 2024. Next up, we have RTS Tempest Rising. This I saw this a little while ago. This is a classic RTS, I guess, sort of akin to Command and Conquer Generals and the other Command and Conquers and Supreme Commando games like that. And it's got like a semi-realistic setting. It's set on Earth in the future after a nuclear war. And so it's an RTS. You have your units, and you might have your research, your upgrades, and your your base build and things like that. It does look pretty good. As a fan of Command and Conquer and Command and Conquer Generals and Supreme Commander, yeah, it's a game I'm interested in. So no confirmed release date on the Steam page. It does say coming soon, so we could hopefully see a 2024 release. And yeah, I believe a full release. I think it's not early access; it'll be a full release, as far as I can tell. And there is actually a demo for it on Steam, which I just noticed. So I might actually give that a go. And the final honourable mention is Killing Floor 3. So I'm a fan of Killing Floor games. I mostly played the first one, which is, yeah, still a really great game, I feel. Played a bit of the second one, played a fair bit of it, but not as much as the first one. I still think I prefer the first one to the second one. But yeah, number 3 is a direct sequel to Killing Floor 2. And these games are all like FPS, PvE, zombie shooter games, but the zombies are like modified and not quite like Resident Evil, but they're like sort of some of them are like engineered and things. It's yeah, quite cool. And yeah, all these games, yeah, great co-op like action horror shooter games. They all hold up pretty well if you're into those types of games. But yeah, I think still the first one is my favorite. And as with the other Killing Floor games, Killing Floor 3 is going to have like crazy gore and blood and things and animations and stuff like that. So it looks quite cool. A decent amount has been shown off as well, and it looks alright. Not bad. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to checking that out. And release wise, it on the Steam page it just says coming soon, but it's possible we'll see a 2024 release and probably a full release on Steam at some point. I don't think it'll be early access. They'll just release the game straight up as they did with the other two. At least I'm pretty sure they did that with Killing Floor 2. But yeah, anyway, Killing Floor 3 possibly coming out in 2024. So that's the sort of main coverage of my most anticipated games of 2024, with the honourable mentions bit done there. And yeah, looking forward to then, I think before I finish, I did want to mention some additional games that we know are in development or coming out at some point in the future. I don't believe any of these are releasing in 2024. I mean, maybe they could do, but I don't think they are. So yeah, I'm no longer talking about game releases happening in 2024. I just want to include these as extra sort of notable mentions I'm sort of looking forward to that are releasing in the future. I think I'll probably do this bit in next year's video if I'm still around. And yeah, just use this bit as sort of a recap and look back on what I liked at the time and things, and whether things have shifted on release dates and stuff by then. So yeah, this is no longer 2024. This is just a few games going forward. So first up is Jurassic Park Survival. I don't think this will release in 2024. It looks pretty cool though to me. I think we'll probably see a 2025 release for this. It has some sort of alien isolation vibes in the Jurassic world, Jurassic Park sort of universe, so it looks cool. And then we have Monster Hunter Wilds. This has been confirmed for 2025. That looks pretty good. Another, next mainline Monster Hunter game. Then we have Light No Fire, which is Andy. Right, not Andy Murray. It's not the tennis player. Sean Murray of Hello Games. His next, and his studio's next game. And it looks like he may have been hyping this game a bit much again, but it looks really cool so far. But it doesn't look like that'll be coming out anytime soon. Maybe 2025 or later, likely later. And then I heard some rumors of DayZ 2. That's looking like probably even later, probably 2026 or beyond. Although we might hear something about it in the next year or so, but I doubt it. Then we have Marvel's Blade. This is by Arcane Leon, or Leon. Looks pretty cool. By the developers behind the Dishonored game, so it has that sort of art style and aesthetic. But this probably be 2026 and beyond. Then we have Marvel's Wolverine by Insomniac Games. Looks like this will be 2026 and beyond as well. But if it's similar to the Spider-Man games, that would probably be quite good. So probably be a while before that. And regardless of year, so this is whatever, this will be any game that I'm most looking forward to. So regardless of year, I think my most anticipated games at the moment are Witcher 4, GTA 6, which we know should be coming in 2025, Kingdom Come Deliverance sequel, which we know is in development, the next Tomb Raider game on Unreal Engine 5, that'll be quite interesting as a fan of Tomb Raider games, and Elder Scrolls 6, we know this is probably years out, next Resident Evil remake, which could either be the original Resident Evil or Code Veronica, I've heard rumours about. And the next From Software game, so it could be a Sekiro sequel, a Bloodborne sequel, or remaster, or potentially a remake, I guess, or the new IP from Software. But yeah, those are sort of my, regardless of year, my most anticipated games sort of overall. But yeah, I know that the last bit isn't about 2024, but I thought I'd add it in just to share what the games I'm looking forward to the most are. And so yeah, I can sort of look back and recap on those in the future. That's the end of the video. Let me know what your most anticipated upcoming games are, whether 2024 or just overall. I will also be including a link to a Game Rant article detailing every upcoming game for 2024, so check that out if you're interested. I'll also list off all upcoming games that I detailed in this video in the description, just in case. But there should have been title cards and the likes throughout. And yes, that's come to the end of the video. As always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like and leave a comment. If you enjoyed my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.